It's fun juggling production, I guess, tonight. You're watching the solo cast of Group C. Tempo, if he comes on at some point today, it'd be fantastic to have him come join us. But until then, you're stuck with me. Spawning in the bottom left corner of the map, he went for a pretty quick pool, and is going to answer you to get these intros out of the way because it's going to be Axiom's Blue Zerg Impact. And in the top right, playing for my insanity, of course, it's the red Zerg player who's gone pool first. It's Sacsri. What Impact has done here very intentionally, for those who couldn't see it, well, I guess some of you guys see it, but some couldn't, it's just that 10 pool without gas. He wants to really get an edge here on the hatchery. Actually, you know what, that may have been an 8 pool, looking on it. Anyways, moving across the map, really looking to get some damage done. Hopefully going to get a cancel on a hatchery, but the problem is because Sacsri did go pool first, he's going to have the tools to deal with this. Queen here, a couple circlings there. I don't think he'll have to resort to a spine crawler because there are no banelings with this. But he's taking gas as well, and there very well could be if this gets out of hand. Now, on top of the hatchery for Impact, he's already going to know, hey, this didn't have that much health by the time I got over here. This was not a hatchery first. And this could get messy. Now, look for the cancel. There's the cancel. I'll let you guys know we are playing on Korea, by the way, to accommodate both players. So the usual latency that we've had in some of the previous games, the previous groups, not really existing here. Look at this ling spread out of Sacsri, though. That's so sick. This doesn't seem like much, but being spread out like this maximizes the amount of damage he'll do as Impact walks up into a very slight concave. But a slight concave is all you need to win a ling fight, especially when there might be a queen behind this. So Impact right now, he's posturing, and he's waiting to really go in for the kill, because he can't. He is going to instead drone up behind this and maybe try and get ahead by taking his own hatchery. Both players are on an even drone count, but it's Sacsri who's going for a baneling nest. He's going for circling speed. This is where it gets really scary for Impact, because right now he's also spread, waiting for these lings to come down. But if he has to deal with banelings and speed, he's not going to be able to keep up. And the problem with that is, well, you might be ahead on a hatchery, but if you lose everything, is it worth it? So right now he's trying to take a bit of a fight, a bit of a scuffle, and it's not going too well to begin with. Sacsri not getting baited down too far that ramp. We do have the queen on the front line too, and she adds so much extra damage to a ling fight. Lings just have such a small amount of delicate health in the first place. The queen's very small amount of damage is more than enough, sorry, this one, to, pardon me, help turn the tides of battle. But back on the other side of the map, Impact not taking gas still. He's gone really drone heavy behind this. He's taking a bit of a drone lead. Queen's out as well. He's actually throwing on a spine crawler. I'm not sure if this is out of paranoia or just ultra safety, but either way, it's a good move because he will need it. Playing gasless, you know, this kind of reminds me of the older styles of builds where you'd go for these builds to get the extra spine crawler up, to get the extra couple of queens out, so you can Evo chamber wall off and just have this really nice hardcore defense. But I don't know if that's really going to be the option here. Now, the spine crawler should be in range of the ramp, and if the queens can bait fights on the ramp while hold positioning on it, the lings will never run by. But his question is, can he defend his own natural base? There are some banelings morphing in here directly in the natural minerals, ramp. Minerals are completely safe. But despite seeing this, Impact can't really do anything about it, because if he moves the queens off the ramp, he's really worried about speedlings running through and just gutting his main dry. So trying to focus these down, nicely done with the baneling. Spinecrawler trying to position here on the low ground, but he should be able to hold his natural base. Now back at home for Sacsri, he is taking his own natural, but still dedicating here very much to the front lines. More banelings coming in. Spinecrawler is going to reposition itself once again. But Impact, even if it's just using his own Zerglings to detonate hits, to soak the baneling damage so it doesn't go off on the Spinecrawler, so it doesn't even reach the mineral lines. These are all very necessary things. As long as he doesn't lose 8+ Zerglings to 1 baneling, he should be okay in this situation. But he's still playing without gas, and he's still playing without his own banelings. And it's 3, well, Spinecrawler, oh, no transfuse goes down. He had the energy for it, but 3 queens on this ramp can do what they can to hold. There is a transfuse on the one not being focused. The one being focused has a transfuse as well. See if we can save the other queen, but it's a little hard to shimmy around when this goes on. New spine crawler trying to get to the front lines, but looks like he has held this ramp quite well. Of course, you need 2 banelings to really get to that mineral line. One's not going to cut it, and the focus fire looking great out of Impact. Impact in the past has been so good at defenses in StarCraft 2, whether it's versus Zerg, whether it's versus Terran or Protoss Cheese. If you give this man several queens in the early game, it feels like he can do magic with them. So a great opening with a great defense so far out of Impact. And the question is, can he follow through with this? His drone count is admittedly lower than his opponents, not because he really lost any, but because he simply had to produce so much queens and lings. That's where all the minerals have gone so far this game. And Sacsri's actually going to try and take this lead and extend it towards the third base. This is going to perhaps be the only time I've ever seen slow lings get a cancel on a hatchery. CVZ 9 minutes into the game, but Impact, while this goes on, is only just now taking his first gases. So there's no speed, there's no banelings. Quite frankly, I would be shocked if he did anything other than go straight to roaches. Because to invest in Zerglings this late in the game just seems silly. He's got to assume at some point, somewhere in the back of his mind, like, hey, my opponent's probably transitioning out of Zerglings and Banlings. Not really the case, as Sacsri invested about 14 or 15 more, but still, the same kind of key features there where Impact's got to do something here soon. He can't just sit here gasless for another 10 minutes and hope to win this game. It simply won't cut it. Now, he knows he's a base behind his opponent, and that's actually perfectly fine. This is the way gasless plays out. You'll be behind a little bit in the early game, but you catch up and sometimes, in fact, most times, overtake in the mid game. But that really depends on the ebb and flow of what happens here for defense. If Sacsri goes really aggressive, if he knocks down the back rocks without Impact knowing, if he finds a way into the base, it can get messy. Pardon me. And I know some of you guys want to hear Zombie Girl, but she's not here for the cast tonight. She wasn't really set up for this, and she won't be casting with me when I do the Mind Sanity versus Yo-Yo Flash Wolves show matches tomorrow either. But believe you me, guys, Zombie Girl loves to cast StarCraft 2, and when available, she normally comes a run-in. She's actually bailed me out a couple of times recently too, so don't fret, guys. You'll hear Zombie Girl again sometime soon with Rifkin. But okay, so for Impact's sake, like I said, he's defended really well. He's finally caught up in drones. As they predicted, he just skipped most of the BS and moved to roaches. And, oh, what's this? We have the rock tower being taken down here out of Sacsri. This is kind of a cute move. This will create a 2,000 health wall with a couple of armor points on it to really delay Impact getting out of his base. I don't know that saving the rock wall was worth risking these queens, but I guess he's got some transfuses, so it's not really that big of a risk. Drone actually gets transfused to keep it alive. That's quite cute. But Impact's still a little bit slower to take his third. Now the roaches are out, and there's a couple options. Move across the map, deal some damage, hope that your opponent hasn't gone for roaches himself, or try and secure your own third. I really hope he goes to secure his own third, especially if the queen's walking over like this. Yeah, he's just gonna run away. But as far as roach count goes, we're going to have this really... I don't imagine we're going to see even upgrades. Quite frankly, Impact... actually, no, I take that back. You know, normally there are double Evo Chambers for the player who's playing gasless. They go with this thicker wall, but with only one Evo Chamber, he's not going to be going 1-1 behind this. He's just going for one level of upgrades. This can be both good and bad. We've seen a couple of games where Zerg players lose because they're down 8 or 6 roaches to start and just snowballs and never quite cleans itself up. But if this is just 1 versus 1... this is an oddly even game, and I don't think there's going to be any distinct advantage one way or the other. Now, for those who may be a little bit curious on what's gone on so far, you've missed one best of 3. We had Huck versus Alive. Huck sadly fell to Alive and will be waiting in the loser's match for the loser of this series, and Alive moves to the winner's match where he awaits the winner of this series. So a TVZ and a PVZ guaranteed to come up next. 2 best of 3s for all of you who are watching the ASL Prime League, and it should be pretty good. Those are both matches I'm actually really looking forward to. Those actually matches like show matches the dreams are made of, you know? But 11 drones on the way for Impact as he tries to attack on the other side of the map. The roach count is fairly even, so defender's advantage, especially with a queen, should go to Sacsri every single time. No matter how this goes for Impact, it's not bad though, because it does put the control of the game a little bit in his hands. He's no longer teetering around his own third, waiting for Sacsri to move in. He's actually securely droning behind this. Sadly, though, all that droning does is really catch him up. Again, he was a little bit behind on drones, not by much, and not for long, but has finally caught up. Interesting choice out of Sacsri to go for Carapace upgrades over +2 weapons, so it'll be 1-1 versus 2-0. Again, a very negligible difference in upgrades for the time being. A lot of this is still going to come down to roach wars and roach counts. I like that he's trying to run by with these roaches. These are tactics you usually see a little bit later on with drilling claws, or tunneling claws, pardon me, and with burrow, but sadly that's not what Impact's got right now. So just hoping his opponent wasn't watching. Sadly he was. And this is actually a little bit messy. Still no workers killed on both sides of the map, but we take a look at the army values right now, and it's definitely a big lead here for Sacsri. You can make up the difference of 9 roaches easily with a couple of queens, that spine core and transfuses, but look where Sacsri's going. Impact sees this. Can he pick up and reposition in time to actually react? Spine core is going to stay put. If he gets a concave at the top of the ramp, that's another big way to get an advantage over your opponent if he's got the numbers on you, but just opening up the attack path, and now it's going to be this really irritating back and forth. Impact, it's not just critical that he's actually in position to fight, but, you know, he's down in numbers. He has to actually be ready to fight at a given moment. Notice his moment, or I can't even English right now because it's quite edge of my seat right now. Roach Wars are kind of dull, kind of boring, but posturing the way it is, cool move to knock down the rocks. This will buy him a little bit more time. Good thing he's got all these overlords too to see exactly where Sacsri's moving. But again, how do you really bridge that 10 roach count, that difference of 6 or 7 roaches? You can't, not unless your opponent slips up a macro or they get caught droning. Now, Sacsri has actually gone to drone in, I don't know, 70, 67 drones like this isn't horrible by any means. It's great saturation for 3 bases, but can he make the most of it? If you stick just on roaches, you're looking for this nice bank to max out on afterwards. But if he's looking for any advanced tech, it goes a step further, and it looks like it is going to be advanced tech. Centrifugal hooks, I can never say that word correctly, on the way. Baneling's speed, basically. So what Sacsri's looking to do is max out on the roaches and do that really cool build cancel trick, you know, sneak out about 18 or 20 more Zerglings, morph them into Banelings, and go for this big push to win the game. Now, sometimes this can work incredibly well, and sometimes it works quite horribly. It really depends on how these Banelings get used as the follow-up. But a bit of a harass slips by into the main. Impact did have some roaches over here. I'm not sure what he was waiting to catch with this, but really irritating because, of course, he will have to clean this up. Segment some of his army over to do this, hopes to try and catch his opponent, but Impact quick to respond. Big concave in the favor of a blue Zerg player. He's also got high ground vision through the grass, so giving chase to this. He's going to absolutely wreck the roach count here of Sacsri. But at the same time, this isn't horrible for Sacsri. He's going to need to lose supply at some point if he wants to use Banelings in this game, and, well, Impact actually doing some cool sneak attack moves, and I like this. I like this a lot. The roaches are going to get to that mineral line and pop up. Okay, well, they're going to actually wait. This isn't a bad move either. Sometimes waiting is way better because you'll have the entire army fighting you, the 100% attention of Sacsri, and instead of barely getting 3 or 4 drone kills with those roaches, you'll actually get an entire mineral line. But oh my god, that army supply, guys. Keep in mind, because Impact has less workers, he's got a much bigger army value max potential, and that's the case here. 67 roaches over 48. He might not be aware of this, but the timing to push would have been so perfect because Banelings would not have been anywhere close to complete by the time he got up that ramp. However, Banelings are now finished, and while they don't deal bonus damage versus roaches, the splash damage they deal in and of itself is almost like a little bit of bonus damage. So that's a lot of Banelings that are going to come into this army, and Impact's got to be careful. These bushes create this weird high ground vision dynamic. He's got to make sure his overlords and overseers over his army to see this coming. However, he unburrows the roaches on the other side of the map, and they start killing drones. We didn't have a lot of drones killed so far this game, but this also draws about 9-ish roaches out of position. Impact, realizing this, may decide to go in and try to pounce for a fight. His opponent is so far behind the roaches. It's 65 versus 57, but that's 26 Banelings he's going to have to chew through. Splitting and spreading like a Terran player. Impact trying to take the best engagement possible, minimizing the damage that these Banelings can pull off, but in doing so exposes his roaches. However, he still maintains that roach lead. 42 over 34, both players on 2-1 upgrades, but this is looking really good for Impact. He's got the concave, he's got the surround, he's got the numbers, and it's looking like he's about to get this game. Right now, Sacsri is going to remax on 23 more roaches, but look at Impact. He's making 36. He doesn't care how many roaches his opponent makes, and he burrows to get away. He kills more drones at the third while this one goes on. The sneak attacks are great. The sneak attacks are perfect. The amount of workers killed so far this game are only 17. Not that big, but it's completely hurting Sacsri while Impact takes no damage back at home. He's got a spine collar set up. He's taking the gold base in the middle of the freaking map. I don't know what Sacsri does to get back from this. It's going to take a pretty big throw out of Impact, have roaches massively out of position, a really bad engagement. But I don't think any of that's going to happen. Our Axiom player is a little bit too good for that. Impact, of course, one of the few players from Axiom that made it over to the GSL Code A through the qualifiers, advancing through. And right now we're getting a pretty good example of why. Great display of dominance over in this game. And the thing about this too is Sacsri's no joke. Sacsri's a pretty good Zerg player. We've seen him play some really massive CVCs in the past, but this one is not going to be one of them. He's caught up in roaches barely, but it's not going to be enough. This attack in the main started off with a big concave. It started off with an advantage. There might not be queens involved with the fight, but I don't think that really would have mattered. 42 roaches over 28. And Impact is just rallying across the map right now. He's got so much more going for him than his opponent. Good game is called. Ladies and gentlemen, Impact will take game number 1 in this best of 3. Welcome back to the ASL Prime 2015 Group C. We're currently in the second match of the day, so still not the winner's match or the loser's match just yet. Don't worry, guys. Your favorite players aren't getting knocked out of this tournament just yet, but that will be coming shortly afterwards. Spawning here in the top right corner of the map, it's going to be My Insanity's blue Zerg player. Give it up for Sacsri. And his opponent in the bottom left, playing for Axiom. It's the red Zerg player, up 1-0 in the series. It's Impact. All right, so this has been a pretty intriguing start to the way this went. You know, Impact really went for that early pool. It got what it wanted to do in canceling the natural base of his opponent, but it didn't really kill Sacsri outright. I was quite frankly shocked that that still went to the 20-plus minute Roach game that it possibly can, but I wasn't too upset by it either. Again, it's always really nice watching somebody like Impact play. There's just some Zerg players who are so masterful at the race, and in very particular matchups can be very fun to watch. There's the guys out there like Target and Snoot who I really enjoy casting ZVZ because they got some really fun ZVZs to watch. You know, you don't know that it's going to be the passive Roach play. You don't know that's going to be Broodlords, but you're pretty much guaranteed there's going to be aggression at some point. Then you got players like Impact and Sacsri here who didn't exactly go crazy aggressive. I think it was up until like almost the 20-minute mark before a single drone was even killed. But we had a lot of very, very small but very important moves made in that game. And of course the game had some really cool engagements once everyone was ready to party with those roaches. But the Spore Crawler move out of Impact, I did not expect this out of him. Not a lot of people pull this off. Hence the higher pitch of my voice. Spore Crawlers actually burrow relatively fast compared to Spine Crawlers, so you'll actually see this pick off the Overlord. It's already too far deep, but there's no time to turn around, so Sacsri is going to lose this. On top of this, you can actually move this to the natural base and sometimes pick off a second Overlord, but in the worst and weirdest case scenario, I've actually seen people walk this across the map, burrow in their opponent's main, and kill a third or fourth Overlord. This Spore Crawler can sometimes be devastating because it's got armor value and 400 health. It's really hard to kill, and he's immediately walking out with this. Oh, this is so gross and so good. A couple of the Queens also moving forward to poke off any Overlords they find here on the natural, because he doesn't want to stop. He's not going to try and burrow this or anything. You can't off of creep. He's trying to walk this across the map and get to his opponent's base as quick as possible. Because unless Sacsri has done something like a 10 pool, unless Sacsri has done something like early aggression, there's nothing coming out that's going to stop this anytime soon. And furthermore, if this was something with early aggression, you know, early gas, early speed, early pool, losing that first Overlord really supply blocks somebody who's going to go for this disgusting all-in. So it's a really good start. But, yeah, so people asking about Zombie Girl. We'll try and get her on after this game, guys. I've spoken with her. And, yeah, so, anyways, continuing through a couple things on top of the Spore Crawler. Actually, looks like they might just be able to take this down barely. But it's always really funny when this goes uncontested. The thing with it, too, is getting the Overlord kill with one Spore Crawler is not... Oh, look at these moves! The body blocks! Is this Heroes of the Storm? The body blocks are so real! He actually delays impact enough that that might actually kill him, especially with the Queen getting involved. But anyways, the Spore Crawler itself is not worth a kill. Not by any means. But it still screws with your opponent, and there's a chance it gets more as the see it goes down. But he's only barely behind in the... supply loss, so not too bad. Kills 2 Overlords to start this game off. A little bit irritating, loses a Spore Crawler, but now he's gonna have to worry about what Impact, or pardon me, what Sacsri is bringing up next, and it's a lot of Lings. It's a little bit later of a cut of drones than you would expect, but it still gets the job done. It's Banelings trying to hit at a time when Impact might not be prepared. He does have a really awkward wall set up. I gotta be honest, guys, I'm not too keen on the walls that are set up like this. It's an awkward hole one way or the other, but the Spine coming behind it going to be necessary. The Queens in the hole, bridging that gap are going to be nice. If he can get Roaches out in time, and it looks like he will, I think he'll hold this attack. But Sacsri's not looking to just come barreling down the middle of the map and reveal what he's doing. No, the Overlords are pushed out of position, and he has no idea about these links here in the bottom right just yet. There is an Overlord over here. He knows it, so now revealing what exactly is going on, can Impact really do anything? Defending is going to be, of course, action number 1, but that's... Oh, that's a lot of Banelings, and he doesn't quite see it. Now, there's going to be some transfusions going down for these Queens. The Roaches themselves should probably bridge that hole more than the Queens. Cancels the Banelings, realizing that there's 5+ Roaches out. Great move out of Sacsri to not over-dedicate to this. He takes his third base instead behind it, and Impact can't really move out. You know, when you're sitting on, what is this, about 16 Roaches, soon to be, you can still get surrounded by these Lings, and they will get picked off really quickly. But, yeah, for Sacsri's sake, we'll see just what and where and how this goes. He's going to have a hard time dealing with Impact. I feel this move he went for, it would have been a really cool killing blow if he had been able to pull it off, but it's past that time. Now he's stuck with a lot of Lings that are here to cancel a third base, but the Roaches, as long as they're hugging the wall and they're clumped up together, should not really struggle to defend this. In fact, he's just going to cancel right away. Never mind. Not even going to waste it. But, yeah, as far as the Roach game goes, I mean, you got to consider, it sucks to be down by about 4 to 10 Roaches. He's going to be down by 15 plus. Impact's still making another 12 behind this, and Sacsri doesn't have any. He's going for a lot of drones. He's certainly going to have money behind this. But that's not going to make up for time and difference. And a creep highway, a ghetto one kind of starts, so he can maneuver a little bit better. Maybe get some queens going. Yeah, Ling's over that surround on the hatchery. He's going to have to cancel that once again. Roaches are just too much, though. Too many. They've got +1 upgrades finished for them. It's 27 Roaches to 8. Impact's going to go for the +1 Carapace, which will finish right around the time +1 Weapons finishes for Sacsri, so still will maintain an upgrade lead one way or the other. Ling's looking around by. This hole in the wall is actually not quite filled. It's a little bit awkward if it doesn't run through, but not super awkward as the Roach is going to try and catch him here in the middle of the map. Still picking off these Lings. Very important. He can't ignore them. They're critical to canceling these bases, but this will only keep going on for such a small amount of time. Another quick cancel goes off. Still no third base here out of Impact, but trying to take the gold to make up for lost time, not a bad move. Not sure what this other drone is. Bait? Oh, I thought I was going to lose that first one, but I didn't, because I'm better than I thought I was. That's a lot of Roaches still coming across the map. It's 37 to 23. Keep in mind, about 6 left at home, so 30 Roaches to 24, still a really big number advantage for Impact. And let's not forget those upgrades still in his favor as well. Concave going to be absolutely fantastic to have here around the third. Queen gets picked off immediately. 2 Roaches, very mich intentionally segmented off to the mineral line to pick up drones when this goes on. He's looking to stall a fight. If he takes a good fight, great, he wins the game, but he's looking to, at the very minimum, just distract. Oh, that sucks. I don't know why the Queens came over here. Lane's got a nice catch on these Roaches too, trying to sneak to the natural, but Impact is doing a pretty good job taking a lot of damage, or giving a lot of damage, pardon me, to his opponent Sacsri. Now, the supply counts have kind of shifted in the favor of Sacsri a bit, but he did lose that drone lead he had. Impact still doesn't have a third base down, and while this fight looks really cool, it's actually going a lot better for Sacsri. His production and his income is just going to outmatch that of Impact's down the road. Still, no third base. It's only just begun. The Roach is trying to retreat. He doesn't have a burrow just yet. It's close to finishing, so he's probably going to bleed off at least, one more Roach there. A lot of the ones for Sacsri are fairly low, so I don't know if he can really swoop in and kill a third without taking too much damage himself. But the nasty thing about this is there's overlords all over the place for both players. Sacsri sees everything that Impact's doing. Impact sees everything that Sacsri's doing. And it's really hard to just catch somebody off guard unless they are absolutely not paying attention. But they are, and they're both some of the best there are, so it makes sense that they don't quite get swindled. Actually, this is where, ironically enough, that one sport call early on would be fantastic. Just burrow under the 3 or 4 overlords floating around. That's some easy kills, but nobody keeps a sport call around that live. Are you kidding me? Are you crazy? Are you insane? Overseer trying to scout around the map. It's got enough for Contaminate, and I think he's going to look for the Evo Chamber to do precisely that. It's always really cool to see Zerg players actually making use of Contaminate nowadays. Which one does he put up? Okay, there we go. Stalls out the +2 weapon upgrades. This is really annoying. This is time you cannot get back in the game. It's about 20 seconds? No, 30 seconds, pardon me. As, yeah, those upgrades will fall behind. Now, Impact already had a lead on upgrades, and that's really cool and all, but capped out around 2-2. This doesn't actually buy him a whole lot of an advantage, but it will buy him time. And if Sacsri were attacking anywhere in the next 30 seconds, Impact would have a guaranteed advantage. Hell, in the next 45 seconds to a minute even, because this still has to actually complete researching as well. So, for Impact's sake, he's got this really nice upgrade lead. 2-1 over 1-0 is going to go a long way when it comes to these Roach fights, especially in a concave, but he's down in Roach numbers, he's been down in drones for a while, and he hasn't had the income to keep up with Sacsri. And the problem for this really starts playing off, not now, but 5 minutes from now, when, they're both maxed out, sitting on 200 Roaches, but Sacsri's the one who's got about 3k minerals in the bank, where Impact has only just spent everything to get to that point in the first place. But again, he's still got that upgrade lead. It's going to come... It's going to be quite handy if you can get a fight with it, but it's really hard to justify pushing out for fights like this. He knows his opponent has a gold. He's not trying to knock it down, but instead take his own. Some folks in chat calling Terran to win this game. That's really bold. Good luck with that. But Triple Spines, not a whole lot coming down, but this is enough to try and buy time. If there's a roach run by, if there's 3 or 4 roaches that sneak into your mineral lines, if you're not paying attention right away, it's not going to kill them, but it will buy you time to respond. Yeah, well, lots of burrowed roaches over here for Sacsri. I believe he does have tunneling claws. Yes, he does. We can see the spikes on the back. So, Overseer with the army out of impact, really important. But, ooh, will 2-2 beat out 2-0 when it's about a 10 roach deficit? Concaves and spreads are going to be pretty important for this. And, oh, Sacsri comes in with a very, very dominant, very, very confident stance coming into this fight. Again, watching the roach numbers dwindle, it's going a little bit better for Sacsri, but Impact's upgrades are starting to help out a little bit. However, it might not be enough in this situation. Not until Sacsri starts getting really spread and it's one line of roaches versus one line of roaches. But as we see, the number games are a little bit too hard, and 32 roaches over 17. It's feeling a little bit like this might be Sacsri's game. Too early to call it just yet, but this gold base is absolutely... Oh, nice cancel! I was going to say die, but he cancels that at like 100%, so... I guess for every time somebody has a building, you know, the SCV gets picked off when it's 50 out of 50 and 100% complete but not actually done. Moments like that happen where you get to cancel at the very last second as well. But those roaches with tunneling claws are going to heal up really nicely, so no longer injured from that first battle, basically coming back here with full health, a huge supply lead, 61 roaches over 36. There's a spine crawler, and that's cool. But it's not really going to help Impact, and I hate to be that guy, but I'm sure this push is going to be what ends the game. In fact, not even going to waste time with it. Good game is still out. Sacsri will take game 2, evening up the series now 1-1. Three of the second best of 3 tonight. And, well, we're going to see just how this shapes up. Spawning here in the bottom right corner of the map, he's actually tied up the series. Now 1-1. It's going to be My Insanity Sacsri going for Quick Pool, Quicklings.
In the upper or middle left, rather, as the red Zerg, it's Axiom's Impact.
Whoa! Zombie Girl, where did you come from?
Oh my god! It's like I was never here. Oh, they didn't hear me say Moshi Moshi. That's my favorite thing.
No, our stream did. Their stream didn't.
Oh! Moshi Mosh! Okay.
Well, we do have the links come across the map, and this is kind of... It's a different variation of what Impact they tried to pull off against Sacsri in game number 1. Instead, we actually have gas attached to this with Banelings. So, 10-pull Baneling can be a really, really scary thing to deal with, but Impact didn't go hatchery first. No, he's got a pool. He's got possibility of spines. He pulls a couple of drones initially here as well to fight. This doesn't take a lot to turn the tide in his favor, but it's once those Banelings come out, I think it's just a little bit scary.
Yeah. You know, I think Impact was the guy that also held off a 10-pool Baneling with, like, a hatch gas pool. So, he's been around the block. He knows what to do. He's fine. He's actually really super fine in this game right now.
Oh.
Did you mute all sounds?
Yeah, I guess, but it's fixed now. I never pressed the mute button, so I don't know if it's like a hotkey tied to exploit I didn't know about, but...
Okay.
Yes, you missed Zombie Girl saying Moshi Mosh. That's about it.
Well, okay, the actual engagement's going on. This, I guess, is the most important part. You really need to hear up until now, anyways.
No, I said everything that needed to be said, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So that didn't go so well for Impact.
Oh, he catches the queen. 2 Banelings to make the middle line. Impact's got a split.
Oh my god!
Oh no! 7 drones.
Wow. That could have been so good for him, you know? Like, okay, if you got like 4 drones, it'd still be even drones, but he'd be able to defend the natural hatchery, which he still is. So I think he's pretty good.
But he's down. 6 workers, though, is hard to come back from.
Yes, it is. It definitely is. He can feel safe for a little while longer, but since he has eyes on Sacsri's natural hatchery and the fact that it's not there, he knows he has to expect speed. Around like a Terran Woods, like 6:30, and that's when things get a little like, I don't know if I can defend this.
Yeah, I actually, you know, that queen was so close to not getting caught in that ramp too. If she had just gotten in range of the spine, it would have been the difference of a lot more going down. The focus on the Banelings. No, like, I mean, if only one Baneling had made it to that mineral line, that could have made the world of difference. But Impact's counterattack here is pretty sizable. However, as you see, Sacsri's got some links back at home.
Mm-hmm. Oh, his link speed's about to finish. Oh, do not run into that Baneling. Why would you do that?
I have to call my proctologist after this. Come on, man. Right.
He's still screwed though. Like he has to stop and fight, or he's just gonna lose the Lings anyways.
I could just, dive on the grenade, so to speak, and kill that Baneling. Would have actually been better than the way he lost all his Lings for nothing. But, this is not looking good for Impact. I've seen Impact hold some amazing defenses against really unlikely scenarios, but even though he's got that drone count back up, he doesn't have anything to fight with. Drone's getting pulled out of the natural base immediately. Spinecrawler is way too exposed where it is. In fact, not even pulled out, he's actually leaving it on the ramp because the only defense he has, there's very few Banelings in play, or Zerglings in play.
This is
looking bad. This is looking real bad.
Yeah, it's like unwinnable. He could kill the Spine and still have enough left over to kill the Wall of Queens, and then enough left over to kill the Hatchery.
He actually wastes a lot on the Hatchery, though. I think that may have been a little bit too much.
And he loses 2 Banelings to the Queens, so now he can't bust through those Queens as easily.
Right, and the other thing with this, too... Oh, another Baneling gets picked up. It's 1 base to 1 base, but Impact's got a big drone lead. I guess he's behind the gas, and that much really actually sucks for him.
It's awkward, though. Like, he has the big drone lead's only 1 drone, so... now we have to start looking at tech, and he doesn't have any tech, and he doesn't even have any gas. He never got gas, which, might have been on purpose because he wanted more Queens, more Spine Callers, or he forgot, and now he's not in a really good mid-game.
I'm not entirely sure whether this tumor was worth giving up a potential transfuse, but it does let the creep stay down so the Spinecrawler can move, so the Queens can maneuver faster. This will allow him to defend this base really well.
Yeah, that's true. Sacsri, he does see that Sacsri's taking a hatchery now, so his own hatchery is pretty safe. But again, it's about, in a minute, Sacsri could stop droning and do another Ling Baneling all-in, and what does Impact have?
I guess that's the problem. Without any gas to bulk up that army with, I mean, there's no Roaches on the way, there's no Lings, there's no Baneling, there's no speed for the Lings, there's no Banelings. How long can you really fight against... Well, with slow Lings, it's just they're not very good fighters.
Yeah, I mean, even if he doesn't all in himself, Sacsri, that is, he can deny Impact's third while getting his own faster third. What you usually get when you get speed over your opponent, but now it's a weirder situation. If that doesn't happen, maybe Impact goes for a Roach Baneling all in of his own. But I feel like that would have already started. The gases would have already been taken. He would have gone his way to speed at least. I don't know where this game's going to go, but it does feel better for Sacsri. He feels more in control, even if the stats are actually looking not so much in his favor.
I say it's in control for now, but let's assume for a second Impact doesn't even try and go for speed. Doesn't even bother with Banelings, just goes straight to Roaches. Then all of a sudden this just becomes a delayed gasless opener. And in that regard, I'm feeling a little bit better for Impact. Oh, those Banelings, or those Lings. I was feeling better for Impact until he lost the entirety of his Zergling force to 1 Baneling in the middle of the map.
Yeah, that's always the risk,
That was like watching somebody bowl a strike just now, is what just happened. It connected barely to the middle Zergling. Okay. Impact's in a rough spot. There's no questioning this. There's no painting this to be better than it is. But I do like that as the game progresses on, it does kind of look normalized. It sounds silly to phrase it like that because of the amount of action that's gone down, and I'm not trying to underplay it, but it is, again, a gasless opener out of Impact. This is not devastating.
Yeah, the gasless opener looked like a mistake at first. You just wouldn't have anything to combat his opponent's own Banelings, but now it's been able to give him this boost in economy. Constantly either up 2 to 6 drones every now and then. Well, is a pretty big deal, but it does come back down to the third. We're down the usual question of ZVZ. How can you get your third?
One of the big things too is, of course, the extra Queens coming out. He lost 1 earlier, that kind of sucked, but the extra 2 with the defense. You could argue he maybe only needed 1 extra, and that 150 minerals could have gone somewhere else. But I think ultimately it's these extra spines that really cost him the most of anything. There's 2 drones plus the actual mineral cost, and there's static D. At least you can waddle Queens across the map. Unless you're playing like Sanai, who actually does bring spine crawlers with his Roach push, but that's probably not going to happen here.
Well, here we can see we got the Roaches as well as speed on the way for Impact, but Sacsri already has his third base. So what is Impact going to do? Just slowly take his own third, which can be very hard to do. A Ling surround, even a partial Ling surround, can get a cancel, and it really delays it even further. Or is he going to all in? No one's really gotten a lair yet, so I can't say, what are they going to... macro-wise, but a lot of Roaches, I don't know if he can throw a Baneling nest down now and have it in time for an attack, but man, I need it. Just Roaches might be enough to attack in a Sacsri and win. Are those the queens marching? It is the
Yes,
queens
with
spines.
spines.
Oh my God.
Spines! They get caught. Can the Overlord drop some creep? No, there's no layer tag.
You know, yeah, there's so
Okay,
little creep right now.
Yo, I'm sorry, but you asked that question. I'm thinking like, nah, those are just Overlords rallied, right?
I know, they're like,
these spines. This isn't Sacsri, guys. This is Impact.
oh, Sacsri actually may be a little regretting now that the creep is even out that far, and it's really not that far.
The Queen transfuses are good so far, but he's almost out of juice, and he wanted to use these for the fight, not for getting a couple of queens across the map. The Roaches are going to try and burrow, but even wasted shots on this right now means that Sacsri might not be able to fight against this as well. Oh, burrow that second spine crawler. Here on the high ground too, no less. This is dirty. This is wonderful. I'm loving every second of it.
It keeps getting cancelled. I don't know if he really intentionally did that. They're so low on health, and the queens are out of transfusions.
Oh, there's no Banelings yet, so these Dirkly swarming in are looking really good for Impact. He's killing the Rush Warren with the spine crawlers. Building versus building action. Only you can stop it.
Can he? Okay, he kills the Roach Warren, that's great, but
it's building.
can he kill anything else?
Yeah,
he's getting
base,
the third.
Getting gutted. He should be able to. His queens are here to transfuse the spines back up and out. They're doing so much bonus damage to the Roaches. It's like having 1.5 extra Roaches every time he shoots. The Banelings trying to connect, but they're stuck in the back. The Lings being micro back to make sure they don't run into the Banelings. Oh, even then, it's not too bad of a hit. More Roaches coming across the back. More Banelings, pardon me. More Zerglings, pardon me, coming as well. I think Impact might just barely do this.
I think he has.
The spine crawlers are so good. This one's got like 8 kills. It's had like 15 health this whole fight, and it has like 8 kills.
He's about to lose a big chunk of that important army, the spine crawlers and the queens.
But he kills the third.
Oh, yeah, he does get the third. Alright, so if that third was still up, I'd be like, well, Sacsri maybe, because he is only down by 5 drones.
Spine crawler, you're the real MVP.
It was like, Sacsri, you know, I was looking at his production tab, watching the spine crawlers move forward, and I was like, why isn't he producing anything? And I checked, and he didn't have supply blocks, so I wonder if he just was simply out of larva, because seriously, that 5 seconds was a huge difference. He would have had roaches on top of the spine crawlers before they were booted, and without spine crawlers, that attack doesn't look nearly as good. Oh.
Oh, and Banelings are trying to get those hits. For Impact, these Lings are not the biggest deal in the world, but it's funny to see them actually come into effect. He was on slow Lings for such a long amount of time. The slow Lings he had in the early game were, quite frankly, useless for the most part, and killing that third was really nice. The third going to finish up behind this, and I guess one of the biggest, most key points to all of this, since that Roach Warren did die, there's no counterattack out of Sacsri. Even if, let's say, he had 2k minerals banked up or something stupid, there's no counterattack out of Sacsri for such a long time. Impact gets to play so comfortably getting this third base up.
Yeah, look at the army supply. I guess that was probably a killing blow, even if it didn't kill Sacsri right there.
This is what I feel like. If you close your eyes for everything but the army supply, you look at this, you're like, oh, this is a Terran versus Protoss game. Like 60 Terran supply or Medivacs Marines versus like 8 Stalkers sitting in the main type thing. This supply count is hard to look at in a mirror matchup.
Yeah, it is. There's nothing looking up right now for Sacsri, and this game has really been quite back and forth. Impact, though, has, I guess, been the better choices have been made here from Impact. Even if they like, every single choice was like, oh, I don't know, like, oh, are the spines really going to root? Oh, is the Baneling Nest, not having a Baneling Nest really going to help you out? And everything did work out, so... This is only, as you told me, the first match, so no one's out, just a loser's match.
Well, second match of the day, but yeah, first match for these guys. This is not a winners or losers match just yet, but it's looking like at this rate, Impact's going to send Sacsri to the losers match. He's coming with the Roaches, and he's got that huge advantage in supply. I mean, it's just 26-9, even if you don't follow StarCraft 2. You know how this game goes. Ladies and gentlemen, Impact will take the series 2-1, and send Sacsri to fight against Huck while he moves on to fight against the Lion.